Memories, rusty watercolored memories. Is that the lyric? Rusty watercolored memories? That's what my memory thinks are the lyrics to a famous Barbara Streisand song. Welcome back to my rusty watercolored memories. Of course, I could Google this, but isn't it funnier this way? We are, of course, deep in my memories of my time, still very much in the Lizzie Bennet Diaries. Once we were done filming the Lizzie Bennet Diaries, check out the Patreon for the most tea and also to give me money. Thank you. My name is Ashley Clements, and these are the Look Back Diaries epilogues. Let's talk about merch, as in merchandise. That's the lingo. Yeah, when you're like making it, selling it, it's merch. I wasn't actually doing either of those things, but my face was on it. So, up until really after the show had wrapped, all of the Lizzie Bennet Diaries merch that existed did not have any pictures of anyone in the Lizzie Bennet Diaries, which meant that none of us got a cut of any of that revenue. So there were a few different posters. There was the cartoon poster that I remember signing at the first VidCon. We were selling them at the first VidCon. They may have been fairly new at that point. A little bit of a weird way to promote the show because the show was not a cartoon. And at the time, I didn't even think about the fact that doing it that way meant that they didn't have to share any of the revenue of that merch with actors because you only have to pay us regarding merch for the use of our likeness. I hadn't even thought about it. But for example, Rachel got a cut of those Everybody Deserves tea mugs. This is me holding a mug in case that wasn't clear. And because she wrote that line, she wrote the episode that Everybody Deserves tea appears in, and therefore she got a small cut of whatever the net profits were on those mugs. But another email that I got in early March, again, we have finished filming the show, but we have not launched the Kickstarter yet, was about a merchandise contract. The email says, due to overwhelming requests by fans, thank you, we want to produce some merchandise for the show that features images of the cast as their characters. And it talks about how they'll do a photo shoot to create those images and, attaches a contract for our perusal. And this stuff was all falling under the producer purview. So this was all being coordinated with Jenny Powell, and she sent that merch contract to me and my manager and said, let us know what you think. And my manager at the time, to her credit, said, I don't know anything about merchandise deals. We're going to need to get you a lawyer. And so she introduced me to an entertainment lawyer, and he negotiated that contract. Now, lawyers, as most people know, are very expensive. They do insane things like bill hundreds of dollars an hour or portion of an hour. But for the type of entertainment lawyer that most actors have, they don't charge upfront. They take a percentage of earnings on contracts that they negotiate, much like an agent or a manager would, and lawyers take less. Agents take 10%, that is the standard. Lawyers take 5%. And typically, the kind of deals that this lawyer was negotiating were deals like a series regular contract, in which case he was going to get 5% of that actor's earnings for every episode they ever did of that television show. That type of entertainment lawyer would also help with writers selling a script, things where there's going to be a long tail on profits. So they make a lot of money without having to charge upfront by the hour, which also means that someone like me doesn't have to pay, $500 an hour to have him look at a contract. But it also means that I have only ever paid this man a very small amount of money. I have not yet gone back to see if I could figure out exactly how much money I ended up making in merchandise, but it was not enough money for the kinds of checks that this man typically receives. I just remember feeling embarrassed, like that I had to send him a check that was so small. Like, here's lunch on me, kind of thing. But I learned a lot from the experience. Also, I should be clear that unlike other work that I had done on the Lizzie Bennet Diaries, print work, still photography, is not covered by any SAG-AFTRA contract. So that is always something that is outside the union's purview. There are no set standards, and there's really no one but, your own reps who are looking out for you in that situation. That also applies because I've gone through these kinds of things as well. If you're doing a commercial and there's the video portion and they also want to do print advertising, that's not covered by SAG. SAG, Screen Actors Guild, AFTRA, American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, covers when you're moving on camera and voice stuff, but it does not cover still photography. This is how you demonstrate still photography. This is how you pose for photos. I'm a model. For print advertising, that's just like a lump fee you get upfront for them to use that. A merchandise contract is going to include the percentage of net profits that the person negotiating the contract will receive. And that contract also stipulated things that they could not do with my image. It very narrowly defines what is permitted and how much we will get. And I think that the actors ultimately split 10% of the net profits. So that means that if a poster sells for $10 and it costs $2 to make it and ship it, then there's $8 left over, and the actors are splitting 80 cents a poster. Those are made up numbers. I don't know what the cost of manufacturing and shipping posters were or are, but you get the idea. But if, for example, actors are splitting 80 cents a poster, you can see how it's pennies. And even if you sell hundreds or thousands of posters, it's not a lot of money in the end, which is how I ended up sending a very small check to this very kind, fancy lawyer. Things that were not in the merchandise contract were getting paid for the photo shoot, which we were not, and anything about the DVDs. But Pemberley Digital argued correctly that making a DVD would trigger required SAG residuals, and therefore they weren't going to pay us additional money for the DVDs. Ultimately, I got one merchandise check once, I believe, and I could not tell you off the top of my head how much money that was for, but that was for stuff outside the Kickstarter. That was stuff for sale on dftba.com. That very smart lawyer also negotiated photo approval for me. There are like specifics about, I have to approve a certain percentage of the photos, so I can't just like nix everything, but I get to take out the ones that I particularly hate. Anyway, then we did a photo shoot, and those photos ended up in places like here, which I also never received any merch money for. On the other hand, we'll talk about it later, but there are no net profits. Here, these are all images that were taken that day, as well as the poster that was finally made with our faces on it. We obviously provided our own costumes again. I do see in the emails that there was someone there to check our makeup. I'm not 100% positive, but I think maybe we did our own makeup and then got touched up there. We took those photos at the end of March, only a few days after the Kickstarter had launched. So we really didn't know everything that was to come. But quickly, I was reminded by my old emails, the cast rallied together. And I didn't lead this movement, but I am very grateful for those cast members who were wiser, more experienced, who suggested that we communicate and band together. It was sort of like we were unionizing, except it was already a union production. But the Kickstarter stuff was this kind of uncharted territory. None of that is covered by the union because no union contract required that they pay us anything out of the Kickstarter other than, as previously mentioned, DVD residuals. And I do just want you to place that in the back of your mind. I will remind you about it later, but it was interesting to me to see that from the very beginning of making DVDs, there was an acknowledgement from Pemberley Digital that they were going to have to pay SAG residuals. So file that away. We will come back to it. But regarding all this Kickstarter stuff, before the Kickstarter had even ended, the cast was communicating saying, hey, let's be in alignment about this and let's not do some things that they are asking us to do. So before the Kickstarter had even ended, they were trying to get us scheduled to do signings of posters and schedule DVD commentary and interviews. And there are emails with the whole cast saying, hey, we should not work for free for them anymore. It was one thing when it was this scrappy little show that didn't have any money, but now we knew that they had money. We knew that a lot of money was coming because we were watching that Kickstarter climb every day. And some of those wiser, more experienced cast members drafted language that they shared with us to send to our reps to help our agents and managers understand this kind of bizarre Kickstarter situation. And our reps asked before the Kickstarter was even over for clarification about how that money would be shared with the cast as promised by the Kickstarter. And because of all of those inquiries, there was an email sent to all the actors and our reps saying, hey, this very successful Kickstarter is going on. We're going to need some time to assess the numbers before we can figure out, how much we're going to be able to disperse among the cast and crew. The way Kickstarter works, not everyone's credit cards had even been charged. So, there was going to be a small percentage of loss plus Kickstarter fees, credit card processing fees, like 10% of the money was going to go to that. And then they had priced out making, I don't know actually how many DVDs they originally expected to make, but now they knew how much they needed to make. And, that was totally plausible that they needed more time. And it was a nice email and it felt considerate. And then in mid-April, we finally had our long-awaited wrap party. Hank Green flew in from Montana, which was nice. We did not interact with him very much. Most of the cast had never met him. This was an opportunity for Hank to celebrate with us, for the full cast, now that we had a lot more people to all get together and celebrate the show and really have like all of our team members there. And we had already been asked to schedule coming in to sign posters, and we had just sent that information to our reps, and we had said that we're not doing any of that until we have information about how the Kickstarter money is going to be paid out. And then, ignoring all of that, we got an email that said that at the wrap party, there would be posters for us to sign since we'd all be together anyway, which we all immediately emailed each other about and sent to our reps. And then very quickly, there was a follow-up email saying, never mind, we're just gonna focus on celebrating and we'll get you to sign those posters another day. So we did not have to work at the wrap party, but I do remember that party being a lot of fun. And they paid for our drinks. We had to wear bracelets. It was fun. It was very fun to get the whole cast together and celebrate and know potentially that a lot of money was coming, which we'll discuss next time. I swear I'm not trying to drag this out in a torturous way for you. I'm trying to take you on the journey as I experienced it. So much more Kickstarter info in the next episode. And let's take a look at the perpetual joy machine that is fan art. Oh, that's nice. We get Bing in. We haven't had a Bing. So we're doing like the two couples. Look at these two smiling so happily to each other. And we're like, I don't know about you. I guess this is sort of in the like Pemberley days. Yeah, sure. It's just me. I would never have known that this was Lizzie Bennet if it wasn't labeled as such. I'm sure it was, but that could be anybody. But thank you for thinking it's me. Also one that doesn't have a great deal of context. Those are really more the shape of Laura Spencer's eyes. But again, thanks for drawing my character. This is my favorite. It's based on another meme, but I didn't know that at the time. So like I had no other context other than just finding this freaking hilarious. I mean, I'm in love with you, but I'm gonna be all sad about it. Look at this incredible Darcy costume put on this other meme, I guess. Getting real tired of your shit, Darcy. And it's the Darcy Day dress. I mean, like, this is my single favorite piece of fan art, and that's probably not what you expect me to say. But like, man, this just made me laugh so much at the time, and I still enjoy it greatly. And look, I said it at the time. I don't want to play favorites, but this is pretty much the best thing ever. Yeah, nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. Oh, this is like the most characters we've gotten so far. It's me. It's Lydia. It's Jane. It's Bing. It's Charlotte. It's Collins. It's Caroline. It's Darcy. It's Fitz. So I uploaded all of these on the same day. It doesn't tell us exactly when it was made, but that's probably all the characters that had existed. It's fan art. It's fan art. And when it's cute and it's fun. Clearly the same artist making Lizzie and Darcy in ugly Christmas sweaters. Just super great. And this sent Lizzie on a journey with the 11th Doctor, yeah? Matt Smith was the 11th? Because David Tennant is 10, and that's the easy way to remember that? Yeah, okay. I do like the bow tie, but I'm not quite sure about the hat. Can Darcy wear a fez instead? Fezzes are cool. And it's made like it's a vlog. It's made like Lizzie going to off in the TARDIS was just something she would make a vlog about and facepalm about. So that's fun. And thank you for the joy.